for a later discussion as well. Now, moving the focus onto Iran, US President Donald Trump has called for the end of Ali Khamenei's rule in Iran. This comes after the Iranian Supreme Leader blamed Trump for the deaths of protesters in Iran. In his response, Trump has condemned the Iranian leadership for using violence and repression to maintain control, stating that true leadership is based on respect, not fear or death. He criticized Khamenei for leading Iran to a point where the country is in ruins and its people are suffering. Trump has urged the Iranian leadership to focus on governing the country properly rather than resorting to extreme measures to suppress the protesters. Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Peter Baum. He's the editor at Weekly Blitz, joining us live from London. Thank you very much, Mr. Baum, for joining us again. Now looking at this, now that it's just Trump and Khamenei calling each other just tit for tat situation and arguing with each other, how do you analyze the situation in Iran? We have also heard the reports of schools reopening in Iran. So is it de-escalating right now?
Okay, so many analysts following these events had expected that prior to where we are today, there would have been some kind of military action in Iran by the Trump administration to assist the protesters. Those same analysts never expected that the Iranian authorities would come back from the brink of being overthrown from where we were about a week ago, when it seemed as if the protests in all the major cities and in a lot of smaller ones, and I think in 26 of the 31 provinces, the anti-regime protesters were certainly gaining the other hand. During this last week, we've seen how the Iranian regime with the IRGC have fought back and, so it seems, quelled the vast majority of protests, although it must be added that we're getting very, very little information out of the country, but this is the feedback we're getting so far. Those same analysts had never expected, having acted so late in the day, that the Iranian regime would have been able to recover, but by using brute force, by killing, it seems like thousands of protesters, they have managed to retain power. And it also seems, from when the protests were at their peak, that the protests have died down. This is the current feedback we're getting. Now, running parallel with this has been the rhetoric from Donald Trump, which in the last few days has been stronger than beforehand. He's actually calling for regime change, and he's actually calling for the overthrow of the ruling Ayatollah Khamenei. We've also seen a build-up of military hardware and personnel in the Red Sea and Gulf states, having extracted the non-military personnel from the US bases. And we've also seen the European Union withdraw its embassy staff from Iran. So we're at a point of the Trump v. Khamenei, the regime versus the protesters, and where do we go from here? I would imagine in the days ahead there would be some kind of military action by Trump. He would look foolish if he didn't create some kind of opposition militarily to the regime, having said that he would back the protesters, there should be regime change, the Ayatollah needs to go. Running parallel with all this, we've seen that the Ayatollahs were threatening the American bases and Israel militarily, and many analysts again expected that there would be a flare-up between Israel and Iran. Indeed, Israel had been put on high alert. It now seems that that has somewhat diluted, but the threat is still there from both parties.
Yes.
My view is that given the build-up of the American fleet in the Red Sea, that at some stage, if it looks as if the regime are going to hold power, I think hold on to power, Trump, who would rather see the domestic opposition bring down the regime, will help the protesters. And that would be perhaps in the next 72 hours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baum, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we come